Girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I am a beauty enthusiast that loves to talk about everything dealing with beauty and makeup, but I do love to switch it up and throw in a little bit of fashion and vlogging. So if that sounds of interest to you, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad. And today we're talking about the Patrick Ta Majors Headline Blush Palette. And so I will be, of course, showing you face swatches of all 6 blushes, as well as some comparisons. Here's the palette, just so we can take a look at it, as well as some comparisons with other blushes that I think are similar to these. And I will be comparing the blush palette to his other 3 blushes that have the cream and powder duos. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it. And let's get right into this video. Like I said earlier, we are talking about the new Patrick Ta Major Headlines Blush Palette. This does retail for $58 and it is sold at Sephora and of course on the Patrick Ta website. Unfortunately, it is sold out on both Sephora and Patrick Ta's website. I'm hoping this will come back very soon because it just came out and it's already sold out. So hopefully this comes back in stock soon so that if you are interested in getting it, you can get it. The cream formulas at the top have a net weight of 0.01 ounces. And then the 3 powder blushes here at the bottom have a net weight of 0.11 ounces. And just comparing the weight of the blushes in the new palette compared to his blushes in his older palettes, for the cream product we get a total of 0.21 ounces, and for the powder product we get a total of 0.14 ounces. So we do get more product in the duos than we are getting in the palette. Some highlights of this palette, of course, we've got a cream formula and a powder formula, and there is a protective sleeve that does cover the cream formula so that we hopefully don't get powder in it. This particular formulation is hydrating, it's vegan, it does leave a natural finish, and it is long wearing. So this is a limited edition palette of 3 major beauty headlines double take cream and powder blush shades. Create an endless variety of looks with these new color duos of luminous cream and velvety powder blushes. So let's do some quick swatches of the shades, and as I'm doing the swatches on my arm, I will also show you the swatches of them on the face. So the first is She's a Doll. He describes this as a poppy pink. So here is the cream version and this is the powder version. She's a Doll. She's Vibrant, and this is described as a bright orange pink. So here is the cream and the powder. And lastly, we have She's Baked. This is described as a tan mauve, so cream and powder. So here are all of the shades swatched in the palette. And as you can see, all of these are very pigmented. When I put them onto the face, I definitely did put them onto the face in very, very concentrated amounts because I did want to show you first of all, how pigmented they were. And then also, if you had a deeper complexion, I did want you to see the depth of each shade, how deep they can go. So please know, I do not intend to wear my blushes that concentrated. I just wanted you to see the intensity of them. They are so pigmented. I feel like they're almost more pigmented than the duos because I was using my Songeji Designer Pro brush and I tapped my brush into the powder, you know, a couple of times, tapped it off, and I still got a ton of pigmentation. And so I feel like this is a natural haired blush. It's pretty fluffy. It's not overly dense. So I would recommend going in with an even more fluffy brush, one that's quite wispy, or literally the way that I applied it onto my cheeks now, I just did one tap into the powder and applied it first. And that's Patrick Ta's method to actually apply the powder first, then the cream on top, which sounds backwards, but it actually worked and it's beautiful. So you see in the demo, I'll put powder on one side, I put just the cream on the other, and then I combine the cream and the powder so you can see the intensity of the shadows. Highly pigmented. I think each one of these colors is quite beautiful. The poppy pink is more of a cool toned type of shade right here, and then you get into these warmer tones right here. So let's get into some swatches of other blushes that he has that might be similar. So here is Do We Know Her? And this shade is more of a pink based orangey, like a pink orangey based shade, which when you're looking at this shade in comparison to the newer shades, there really isn't a comparison between these. So I'm not gonna swatch this one simply because, well, I'll swatch it because maybe you're just interested in it. So I'll swatch it, but this one is definitely not similar to any of the new shades in the palette. Let's put Do We Know Her? We'll put this right here. So there's the powder, there's the cream. Oh, did I put that on top? Oh no, I did it. Okay, good. So there's the powder, there's the cream. It's right next to She's a Doll, but that's okay. But this is Do We Know Her? It's from the duo. Then we have Oh She's Different. I'll put this one next to She's Baked because these are a little similar just looking at them straight away. You can see a difference in their tones. They do have a different tone to them, a different undertone. Oh She's Different looks more purplish in my opinion. Versus this one, even though it's described as a tan mauve, this looks more like a brick shade to me, and this looks more mauve-y like to me. But that's just me. I mean, that's just how I see it. This was one that I thought I would like the least, but this is probably my favorite Patrick Ta blush, hands down. It's so complimentary on the cheeks. And I don't know, it just looks, I mean, to me it looks boring in the pan, but it gives so much life to the cheeks. So I'll swatch that one. Let's put this right here. So this is She's So LA. So you can definitely see a difference between She's So LA and then She's Baked right here. Definitely a difference between these two here. So then I thought about Mother Pat because there was a couple of blushes from her that I looked at and I was like, let's compare. So let's compare Electric Bloom from Mother Pat, and I want to compare it to She's Vibrant. So let's put that one right here. So there is She's Vibrant from Mother Pat, and then, I'm sorry, this is Electric Bloom from Mother Pat, and She's Vibrant from Patrick Ta. And I do see some differences between the two. Mother Pat, I would say definitely is pulling more coral for sure than the shade from Patrick Ta. Patrick Ta, I see more of, it almost looks more like hot pink. Do you see that? Whereas Mother Pat is pulling more of that coral reddish tone. And then I thought of Love Struck. So I thought of Love Struck and She's a Doll. And even though they're a little different, I still wanted to compare the two. So here we go. We'll put this one right here. So She's a Doll is described as a poppy pink. So here's Love Struck and then She's a Doll. So they definitely are different in their tones and also in the colors. I feel like Love Struck is definitely pulling warmer versus She's a Doll is pulling more cool. And She's a Doll is more of like a brighter pink, that poppy pink. But I just saw it and I was like, I think I should compare them. Then I have a blush from Tower 28. This is Happy Hour. I wanted to compare this to the cream blush from She's Vibrant, the bright orange pink. So let's put that, we'll put that right here. So this is Tower 28's cream shade, and then this is the shade I was gonna compare it to. So there's a difference in tone between the cream shade in Patrick Ta's palette and the Tower 28. Tower 28 is pulling off much more pigmented and much more bold in its pink color. Then lastly, I have the Viseart blush palette. So I'm just gonna swatch a couple of shades. I'm gonna swatch this shade right here, and we'll swatch that next to She's a Doll, the poppy pink shade. So I'll put that right here, which is right next to She's a Doll. So definitely a difference in color there. And also a difference in intensity of blush. Let me try to re-swatch that so you can see it. So here we go. Try to build it up a little bit more. Both of them do have that bright, they actually do look a little similar. Viseart is gonna be more subtle in its intensity versus Patrick Ta. And then I want to swatch this shade right here next to She's Vibrant. Hopefully you can see it. So here's the Viseart shade, and this is She's Vibrant from Patrick Ta. So the Viseart shade is pulling more red, not as like coral pink. So those are all the swatch comparisons that I have of blushes that I felt were a little similar. And I think this, in terms of his blush palette, I do think the shades that he chose are very unique. I don't think that they are the most common shades of blushes that we might have at home, which is a good thing because I know for me, I'm a blush girl. I have a lot of blushes, and I'm sure that there are more blushes that I could compare to this. So if you think of some that I did not swatch, please let me know. But I feel like the colors that he chose are, if I could say, like I said, unique to my collection. I don't readily have shades like this. And I also feel like he did a good job of making these as pigmented as possible so that no matter what complexion wants to use this palette, it will show up. I have all confidence that these blushes will show up on deeper complexions, even if, like for instance, with this particular shade right here, I think on a more rich complexion, it's going to look like a flush of color. Versus these two shades will actually really show up and pop on the cheeks. I thought, I was glad that he made the cream products not as pigmented, because these powder products, let me just say, they're very pigmented and they're very, I think you can overdo it very quickly. Like, I'm pretty sure you saw it from the demonstration. So when I went to go apply the blush that I'm wearing today, I put on a couple of different blushes. So first I went in with the powder shade from She's Baked. And like I said, I took Sonia G brush and literally just like tapped it once into the pan, applied it onto the high points of my cheeks. And then I went in like one other time because I felt like it was a little, like I didn't really get enough. Went in with it one more time. And with that one more time, I was like, oh shoot, I might have already overdone it. So I did that on both sides. Then I wanted to go in with this shade and same thing, just popped it into the pan one time, tapped it off, applied it right here. And at that point I was like, I feel like I've overdone it. I feel like I've overdone it. So I went in with the powder product, and then I went in with the cream from this particular duo and popped it onto my cheeks to add just a nice shine and glow to the cheeks, and just brought it a little bit up over the powder product. And I think the blush looks really pretty, really nice and vibrant. And I would say if you're new to blush, enter cautiously, because you can overdo the powders, I think, pretty quickly. The creams though, I think are very easy to use. I don't see anyone overdoing them too much off of just like initially applying them. The brushes that I use to apply the cream products, I use the Sonia G Base 1 brush, and then I used the Refer 17 brush. These are two of my favorite brushes to use with cream blushes, and I think it applied the blushes very beautifully. I feel like I also got an even application of the blushes onto the cheeks, so I didn't feel like it was picking up the product underneath. And my favorite way to apply cream blush is in a stippling motion. So like you saw in the demonstration, I just tap the cream product wherever I want to place it onto the cheek. And for me, that helps me not disturb the products underneath the blush. I think this palette is actually a really beautiful palette. I like that the colors are unique to my collection. Like we saw from swatches of blushes that readily came to mind. I don't think I have these tones in excess. And even the ones that were a little similar, I could see the differences in them. So I am really happy with this. Now, if I have to choose like blush palette or the duos, I honestly prefer the colors in the duos. Like I said, she's so LA, y'all. I cannot get over how beautiful this looks on the cheeks. And if I have any videos where I've used any of these blush palettes, I will link them down below. I want to say I did a review on these. I can't remember, but these, I killed the mess out of these earlier this year. This one right here is such a beautiful tone for the fall season. And then even this one I wore a lot in the summer, and I would still wear this shade now, but I actually like the tones in the duos better because I think these tones are more kind of like everyday wear tones. The tones in this blush palette are quite unique. And what I mean by that is this poppy pink. This is one that, because it's cooler in tone, this is not a blush shade that I would wear all the time, but I know it's a blush shade that I'd be like, ooh, I have this blush shade. Okay, let me wear it with whatever look I'm going for. Now this shade in the middle, I most definitely would wear this a lot. And then with this one, I think it's beautiful for like a blush contour. Like if I kind of was rushing and I didn't have a lot of time to do my makeup, I would reach for this shade because I think this could work, like I said, as kind of like a blush contour all in one. So I really enjoy these tones, but if I had to choose like blush palette, like you either keep the blush palette or you keep your duos, I keep my duos. So I think this palette is beautiful. I highly suggest that you check it out if this is something that you're really interested in. And like I said, I will keep you updated on the restock. Hopefully it will come back in stock soon so that if you do want to get it, you can get it. But yeah, I think this is beautiful and I do recommend it. I think the formulation is great. Just go in with a light hand, a fluffier brush so that, you're not putting too much on at one time. I think when I go to use them again, I would go in with a brush like this. This is the Refer 30 brush because it's very, very fluffy and I can literally just tap my brush in one time and diffuse the product over the cheeks, and I won't have to worry about putting too much on at one time. The Designer Pro brush, or even this one, this is the BK Beauty blush brush that was created by Angie, Hot and Flashy. I feel like this is gonna be too dense, and once again, we'll just pack the product on too much, and then it's gonna be hard to blend out. So those are my recommendations on how to use the product, but what brushes I think will work best with it. But I highly recommend this one, and I think if you've been looking at it, and I think, if you feel that you will enjoy it, I say get it. So I think this one is a hit. I really do enjoy it. And like I said, I will let you guys know when it's back in stock. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the palette? What do you think of the colors that he chose for the palette? And if you do have it, how do you like it? And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye guys.